That child that was born was called Samuel. The happy mother Hannah had pledged that her child would be brought up in faith to serve God. That was the pledge she had made, and she kept it. Now here's a special story told with young people in mind, spoken by members of the Cram family.
Samuel went to the temple school to be taught by Eli. Eli was quite old now. He hardly could see any more. Eli had 2 sons who helped in the temple too, but they were horrible bullies. When friendly people came, they were nasty. When people brought presents or gifts to the temple, they snatched them away and kept them all to themselves. Young Samuel was afraid of them. When he saw them coming, he always tried to hide quickly. That made the temple not a happy place. All who came to the temple noticed there was little joy. In these unhappy days, no one had dreams, no one had visions, no one felt God speaking to them. But young Samuel was not afraid of old Eli. Eli was like a good father to Samuel, and that made it a safe place for Samuel. Right in the middle of the temple, where people came to speak with God, there at night old Eli slept, and young Samuel close by. That way, Samuel could help the old man when he needed it. Then, one night, in the middle of sleep, young Samuel suddenly heard a voice calling out. Samuel immediately woke and said,
"Yes, Eli, here I am."
And Samuel went to Eli and said,
"Eli, what is it? Why are you calling me?"
Eli woke up and was surprised.
"I did not call you. You must have dreamt it. Go back to bed."
Samuel went back to sleep, but again he heard someone calling, and Samuel answered.
"Yes, Eli, here I am."
He was now scared and shook Eli's arm.
"Why are you calling me?"
Eli rubbed his eyes.
"But my child, I definitely have not called you. Go back to bed and sleep."
That is what Samuel did, and when he slept, again he heard a voice calling.
"Yes, Eli, here I am."
He answered, got up, and for the 3rd time said to Eli,
"What can I do for you? Why are you calling me?"
This time, old Eli began to understand and said to young Samuel,
"Now I know. It is God who is calling you. When you hear the voice again, say, 'Yes, God, here I am. It's me, Samuel. I am listening.'"
So Samuel went back to bed, and when Samuel heard someone calling for the 4th time that night, he said,
"Yes, God, here I am. It's me, Samuel. I am listening."
and so God spoke. Tomorrow, Samuel, tell old Eli that his sons must lose their jobs in the temple. The next day, Samuel was afraid to go near Eli, but Eli was looking for him. He asked,
"What did God say to you, Samuel? You do not need to hide anything from me."
Then Samuel told him the bad news, that God thought that Eli's sons were no good as temple helpers, that they were nasty and that they took things they should not take. Eli nodded. A tear rolled down his cheek.
"God is God,"
He said.
"If God says my boys cannot be temple helpers anymore, that is the way it is. Young Samuel, you have great courage. Thank you that you told me exactly what you heard God say."
You know what I find so amazing in this story? That God speaks to young ones. Not only old people, but to young ones God speaks. And when all the old people seem to have their ears full and occupied and don't hear God anymore, God speaks to children and listens to children. A second thing I find so amazing in this story, young Samuel needed old Eli's help. Young Samuel doesn't know whose voice it is. He doesn't know how to react to it. And old Eli, after he has got enough prompts, 3 of them, understands there is something bigger at the go. God is speaking to young Samuel. Listening to God is not always easy. Sometimes we need to make out what it is that is going on. God speaks in different ways. Sometimes it's a dream, sometimes it's a voice you hear, sometimes it's a simple verse in the Bible that you read. Sometimes it is the good example of one person, and you find that inspiring. If you're not sure if that is God speaking with you, it is really worth talking with others, with a person you can trust. Talk it through with them. God speaks to children. I had to ask a second question. What to you makes Jesus so special? And the answers were knowing Jesus cares for us and feeling you're never alone. I feel Jesus' arm round my shoulders when I'm struggling with something. He is always there for me. I know Jesus is always there for me in good times and bad. It is good to have someone to talk to, and I can always talk to the Lord at any time of day. I'm able to pray for so many people in all our minds at the moment. Jesus reminds me all the time of the power of forgiveness, which is sometimes hard to do. But with his help, I can keep trying. Jesus died to save us, and he did loads of wonderful miracles. He loved everyone, no matter their sex, colour, or religion.
When Jesus saw the fishermen in boats upon the sea, he called to them, "Come, leave your nets and follow me." They followed where he healed the sick and gave the hungry bread. And others joined him as they went wherever Jesus led. And now his friends are everywhere. The circle, once so small, extends around the whole wide world, for Jesus calls us all. In this great circle we belong, wherever we may be, and we will answer when he calls, "Come follow, follow me."
Wherever people were blamed, bullied, discriminated against, there Jesus has often intervened and included it in his day. Where today are people blamed, bullied, discriminated? It's a pressure to conform and to look good, a way to make people feel less worthy, to feel guilty. There, Jesus' followers are called to step in and include. Again, the question, what to you personally makes Jesus so special? God is. Likewise, Jesus is. Were I to define an attribute, then that would become my God. Some suggest that Hinduism has many gods, whilst others indicate that the deities so described are all simply attributes of the one God. I did not marry my wife as a consequence of an attribute like good cook or beauty. If I had done so, would my love end when or if the attribute were lost or taken from her? Love is much more of a given. And so is my relationship with Jesus, with God. For me, I cannot point to a time when God was not a presence in my life, in my being. I have very early memories. Where do you begin to start? Again, when all is said and done, he sought me out and then showed me the Father, and they have made their dwelling place with me and in my brothers and sisters around me. It is a personal relationship. But that is not so easy to define in a sentence. But all the titles of Jesus, especially Son of God, are very relevant. God on a cross, but in my place, kind of blows your mind.
Is also known to me. It's who I am beneath the mud, and who I'm meant to be. Come gently, Jesus, to let there be recognized the good each other has to share, even when it's well disguised.